Hey everyone, hope you're having a great day out there. Joining me today for a conversation is Maddi Rundle. She is a psychotherapist, and she's been someone that I've been wanting to speak with for a little while now. Lots of great insights that I've heard her share through her Instagram page and just in current conversations with her. And I thought that it would be helpful to all of us to hear some ways that we can support our children during difficult times, support ourselves during difficult times. We are recording this in the middle of the COVID pandemic, so certainly it is very pertinent to all of us right now. But I'm sure that the things that Maddi is going to share will apply to us at all times of our life. So thank you for joining me, taking time out of your family life right now. Welcome.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
You've been having conversations. I know a lot of your practice is working with people online, and you've already been having some conversations with people over the last week. Maybe we can start by sharing some of the things that you're observing, some of the fears and concerns that people are working through, and then some of the tips that you're giving them.
Yeah. So the majority of my practice is new mothers, so mothers of young families. And there's a massive amount of pressure that I'm noticing in this group of women, and just an overall feeling of overwhelm and stress and anxiety. And I mean, even before this pandemic, anxiety is at epic proportions right now, right? And now in our social isolation, all we have is space and time, right? And in a culture that loves and bows down to busyness, this is a massive transition that we're in, and it's creating space, which can be great, and also for most people who are not used to feeling their feelings or having any type of anchor to slow them down. A lot's coming up for people. That's always been living thing inside of you, but we are experts at staying busy to mask that. So that's the biggest piece that I'm noticing, is how much is surfacing for people. And it feels like an inopportune time, because now the rest of their family is home. How do I take care of all my people and me?
Mm-hmm. I have to say that when I first hear that, I think that there's an opportunity for some healing to happen.
Massive
It's
opportunity.
like in any time. I mean, as a chiropractor, we see people with crisis, and their body has to go through some healing, and then they typically are stronger movement wise, healthier in so many aspects afterwards. So when I think of emotional well-being, and I know my own personal journey, sometimes feelings come up, things that trigger you, and then you work through them, and then when the same situation comes up, you have a different level of resilience afterwards.
Absolutely. You're increasing your capacity, right?
Mhm.
And so we all have this window of tolerance, and what's happened in the busyness and pushing things down is that we've actually minimized our window of tolerance for emotional resilience, like anything emotional, any feelings, and even how we talk about it, right? Like, oh, like get over it or suck it up or whatever. And these things are shifting, thank goodness.
Mhm.
But the more that we avoid, that which we resist persists, right? Like it's always like this frenetic energy. And the analogy I use with a lot of people that resonates is like, do you feel like there's a lot just always at the surface, right? Like you could be sort of toppled over at any moment. That's because you're at your capacity. And so the opportunity is to start to gently increase that window of tolerance for you to actually accept that feelings are an amazing part of the human experience. Like
Mhm.
that's the lived experience. That's what it is to be human. And unfortunately, the more that we push away any type of feelings, good or bad, quote unquote, there is no such thing, but we can talk about that in
Oh,
a
I like
second.
that. Pain is good,
um,
fear is good, joy is good. Yeah.
so no matter what, if you begin to feel your feelings, you'll begin to increase your capacity. So actually, let's go back to that idea. Like, if we can, for a moment, set aside this belief or this notion that there are certain good feelings or bad feelings, let's just say for a moment, there's no such thing. If feelings are just information, what would that shift for you?
Hmm.
And that's truly the human experience, is like to to have this whole human experience, the full spectrum, is to feel. And the ironic part is the more deeply you can allow joy, the more you can handle the tough stuff. The more like, and most people, and maybe this is just bias because I'm a therapist and I I see people that are under stress, but if people want to like dive into the traumas or like, I've got this thing, I've got to heal it, like they're just laser focused, that's not really the way we gently increase our window of tolerance or heal. It's
Mm.
it's it's more of a gentle approach where, okay, what's your relationship right now with joy? And most often, and I hate to generalize, but most often, we're not accepting that good stuff, right? And the more we can accept the good stuff, the more capacity we have to go into the tougher stuff, right? So it all works together, but bottom line is if we just use feelings as information, a lot can shift, because
Mm.
even in a time like this, stress, overwhelm, anxiety, they're really normal and healthy responses.
Mm.
So that's number one, that I don't want people to shame themselves if they are feeling a heaviness or an influx of just overwhelm, right? It's a healthy, natural, physiological response to stress.
Mhm.
And that's just it. We're so obsessed with controlling everything, even our emotions, that we've lost the ability to be with what's coming up. Like it's an input of information for us to understand, oh, fear and stress, okay, something's not right. We
Mhm.
don't want to annihilate that, but most people would say like get rid of it, right? Well, no, we need that as a physiological response to stay alive, right? We
Right.
need all of our emotions and physiological responses in high functioning. um
So really, we have to feel the feelings, all
yes.
extremes of them, and but when someone right now is struggling with perhaps loneliness or fear of losing their job, or worrying about the health of their family members, or just a whole economy, what is something that people, if we could give someone today watching this an active tip, how can they shift out of that state? Because what I always tell people is you can feel all the feels, but then you
Yep.
can't stay there, because then that physiologically creates stress, and then all the other cascade of changes internally that create disharmony and disease in your body, and then lead to all kinds of chronic health conditions. So is there a tool, maybe one tool that you share with your clients, that you help them shift that energy to something a little more positive?
Yeah, for sure. So the first thing is that um, we have a negativity bias as humans. And so if two things happen of equal value, quote unquote, good and bad, we will only register the bad and we will amplify that. Like even if they were of equal value, the positive goes out the window. So to just know, again, you're healthy and normal. Congratulations, you're human, right? If you're focusing on this stuff, and that you can exercise your muscle of noticing the positive as well. So if you so in these moments, right, where ideally when a stressful moment comes in and we're in a very stressful pandemic, like, so stress enters, we go into activation, we might have a lot of moments through our day that are filled with stress and overwhelm, but really pay attention throughout the whole day to when you're just okay. Like to just notice, to start paying attention to that, because it's really easy to go to bed and be like, oh my God, all the things. And like, just say, was there a good moment today with my kids? Was there a soft moment? Was there a moment where I just got lost in the music that I was playing? Like to really get clear and intentional on focusing on more of those okay moments. It doesn't even have to be this big, joyful, blissful moment, right?
Mhm.
That's a big piece, but also there's just an easy practice of like set a timer for 10 minutes where that's your worry time, right? Rather than having it as that underlying buzzing and just like heavy feeling through the whole day, set aside, okay, I'm going to actually have my timer on for 10 minutes to have my worry time where I can write all my worries down. I can obsess about them for my 10 minutes, but when the alarm goes off, then I'm back to like being in this moment, being with my children, because I think that's another piece I've really noticed with the clients that I've been talking to, is that there's such an opportunity, as you said before, right? There's
Mhm.
such an opportunity for connection, for healing, for being with your family. Like, this is what I hear in my practice when people are so busy. They wish for this. They wish there was more time. They wish they could be home with their kids.
Mhm.
And all those things that you listed, right? Like the stress of your health or your finances, like, get really intentional for yourself around, what do I want this time to be? Will it be completely consumed with that stress and worry? Or
Mhm.
will I allow the scales to balance a little bit of like, okay, I'm going to take this afternoon and just be fully present with my kids and be there for them,
Mhm.
because our kids are picking up everything from
Which is a
us.
great, yeah, which is a great segue into how can we support our children. I have teenage sons, and they're hearing things from the media, having conversations with friends, and then there's times when they think I'm overreacting, and then there's times when I can see they're feeling some anxiety, and I want to do my part to make sure they know the facts and know the reality, but also to keep them in a space of hope and optimism, and not let their own anxiety, all the things we just talked about. So for parents out there of kids of all, I mean, I'm sure it's different, young children versus teenagers and adult children, obviously. I think I'm still a child.
We all
What are
are.
some things that we could do? I mean, maybe we'll break it down. And guys, this conversation is probably going to go longer than my normal 10-15 minutes, because I think this is really important. So let's start possibly with toddlers and school age children, with that group. Like, what can parents be doing or saying, in addition to taking care of themselves, like we just talked about, to ease some of the fear and anxiety that children might be picking up?
Yeah, so they have beautiful imaginations and they make
Mhm.
gorgeous stories up. So you want to make sure that you actually fill in the blank
With the right information.
approach sharing, right? But
Yeah.
exactly. So it's really important that you yourself, as the adult, are educating yourself with reliable resources. So just check if you're getting all your information off Reddit or all of it off of just your Instagram. Like, who do you follow, right? Like, go to government websites, go to health websites so that you
Mhm.
gain factual information. So that you're equipped too. And to be honest, if you don't know, let it be a fun activity. Let's research, let's find out. But also to focus on the hope. Like, you are the filter, no matter what age. Doesn't matter if we're talking toddler or teenager. You are the filter. So if you have even teens at home, like, it depends if, I don't know if people even, we don't have TV, like everyone just uses their devices.
Mhm.
But you do still have some say around like how much time they're spending looking at these things, and with little ones and with older kids too, I believe, find the hopeful stories. Like, I've found a couple really beautiful stories around what's occurring just in nature with
Mhm.
people not having such a big footprint. So find those stories and focus on that too. Like, it's,
Mhm.
media has a certain story and narrative that they're sharing with us, right? But also know that in this time of isolation in your family home, I believe there's this huge opportunity for you to really decide, like with you and your partner, or if it's just you that's like the anchor of your home, decide like, what's the narrative and the lived reality that we want? Like, not some fantasy, right? But just to say, like, what do I want this story to be in our house, right? Like, where will we focus our attention? Where will we where will our conversations go?
Mhm. And helping them, it makes me think of how emotional, I mean, I have teenagers. I think teenagers have a lot of emotion and hormones, obviously, but so do young children. They don't have the logical, rational thought. Their frontal cortex is not fully developed, right?
No,
And so
exactly.
they don't know how to take in information and decipher it the same way we do. They don't have the same ability to reason, right? So being able to help them, I liked when you said, like, fill in their words, right? Or fill in the information for them and make sure that they're getting accurate information.
And littles love control. all they want is control and to do it themselves. So equip them, say like, here's what you can do. Wash your hands really well, right? Like to give them actual tools that this is how we stay healthy, right?
Mm-hmm. And so are there specific activities? Like, have you had any parents come to you right now and say, my child is really struggling with some anxiety? And obviously people would work with you professionally, but are there little things that parents could be doing with their kids while they're home to keep them, like activity books, or I'm just thinking of like some practical things that are exercises that parents can be doing to keep the communication going or make it fun or to keep giving them hope?
Um, I would say in this time, a couple of things in terms of like workbooks and everything. Like, this doesn't need to be the time that you're overwhelming even yourself with lessons and planning and all the things. If that creates stability for you and routine is absolutely what you need, yes, by all means. And I can share some links or resources to some great things that I've seen out there, but
Mhm.
also to not be distressed if your child is not motivated in this time. Like, to again just come back to sort of your moral compass of what do I want for my family right now, right?
Mhm.
um don't guilt yourself over like snack choices, or don't stress about screen time. Like, really cut yourself a break. This is a national emergency. It's not the time to get ahead and be more productive. Like, I saw this really great um, share the other day where someone said, and it was from an older generation, but I thought, yeah, like that's pretty beautiful, where it said, everyone's stressing about school and everything, but like, what if we taught our kids how to like use the laundry and like the dishwasher and just all the things at home? And this is going to speak directly to um, the mother crowd, and this, I don't know if you've heard this term of like the mental load that they carry,
Mhm.
all the things that you do. Like, this is the opportunity where everyone's at home that gets to see
Mhm.
how the house runs,
Yeah,
right?
all the pieces,
Share that.
put it right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah,
So
it is a great
share
time. I
that.
love that. Bring them in and teach them some life skills. We teach my oldest son; he's pretty good
Yes.
at cooking, and he could live by himself, no problem. The younger one, we tease him like, dude, you need a lot more repertoire in what you can cook for yourself. So, teaching them life skills, and even interestingly enough, last night we had a conversation around. What are the things you could be learning that would really help you in the world? Like school right now, who knows if they're going back to school? So I'm thinking, like, what entrepreneurial skills could you be learning? And I'm with you, like giving them a bit of a break right now, but in the next few weeks,
Hmm.
they're not going to be sitting around. They have to be learning and engaging. I think we all do. And
Yeah,
helping them, giving them the opportunity, like all of us, to learn something new, or maybe even find something that appeals to them, is a huge gift if we can see it that way.
absolutely. And like, use just really check in with yourself, for yourself first. Like, that's a big practice of mine, that, and I'm a big advocate of me first. Like, that's not the norm, but
Mhm.
even think of the term, like, selfish is considered like the worst thing in the world. Like, women are supposed to be selfless, right? Like, not have a self, which
Right.
is crazy to me. But I'm all about taking that back. Like, me first, right? It's put the oxygen mask on you first, to check in, like, what is okay for my mental and emotional well-being in the next week, 2 weeks, and it will change. Like, check in, as you said, like, right now this is fine, right? But in
Mhm.
the next few weeks, obviously I would have a very different answer.
Mhm.
But for right now, what's best for your mental and emotional well-being? If you are like at odds with your kids or your teens over worksheets, then ditch the worksheets. Like, find what works, find the harmony within your family, and start asking questions. Like, be available to to trust that your kids have a knowing inside of them, and they have desires and they have interests. Like, ask them, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
Don't take on so much that you have to be the expert. Like, get really curious about your children
Mm-hmm.
and see what happens.
And really, I mean, I often think anyone can be a parent, but the experience of parenting is a whole other
Oh
thing.
my God.
And
Yeah.
so why don't we enjoy the experience of the opportunity to be a parent and parent children and communicate and have the reciprocal relationship. I mean, I don't know about your children, but I continue to learn so much from my boys as much as I share with them. They help me in so many different ways. So it's a beautiful thing to nurture those relationships. We covered so much. I know that I'm sitting here feeling a lot more grounded and happy that we had this chat. So, listeners, viewers, check out what Maddi has to say and lots of other posts. Check her out on Facebook and Instagram and connect with her if you want more information. Thank you for your time today. I know this was of value for other people as well.
Thank you.